Can I ask any of you guys who you're voting for in this election?
Who are you voting for?
They don't let me vote after the incident.
What incident?
After the incident, they don't let me anymore. Can I ask you guys who you're voting for in this election?
Harris. Because I don't want a dictator to run the country.
No dictator. Sorry, we do not like Donald Trump.
Can I ask you who you're voting for in this election?
Kamala Harris.
Can I ask any of you guys who you're voting for in this election?
Oh, Harris. Who else is there? Because she's knowledgeable. She's about the most knowledgeable president I've seen. That's including Obama. We just had our monthly NAACP meeting.
And this is Esther Lee. She is the president of the Bethlehem NAACP. She's been an advocate for voting and for human rights for 100 years.
You know, I think people ought to be up and honest about what they believe.
Who are you voting for in this election?
I am excited for Kamala Harris. Yes, I am. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz all the way.
Can I ask you guys who you're voting for in this election?
Kamala Harris.
Can I ask you who you're voting for in the election? Can I ask any of you guys who you're voting for in this election?
Harris, baby.
Can I ask you guys who you're voting for in the election?
Kamala, because I cannot vote for Donald Trump.
Can I ask you who you're voting for in this election?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Well, you got to figure it out. You don't have much time.
I know.
Weigh one candidate for the other right now.
Trump.
What? Weigh one for the other. What do you think about Trump?
I like Trump. I like Trump better than Kamala Harris.
So it sounds like you're voting for Trump.
Maybe. Could be.
Can I ask you guys who you're voting for in the election?
Harris. For me, she stands for all the right things and like what I think the country should be moving towards.
Can I ask you who you're voting for in the election?
Definitely Harris.
Do you mind if I ask you guys who you're voting for in this election?
Oh, I'm voting. We've already voted for Kamala. I think in Pennsylvania we outnumber registered Republicans by 356,000.
What Kamala Harris has done in the last 8 weeks is unprecedented in U.S. history. She's closed the gap. We're not just within a margin of error. We've expanded the map in the United States. You saw new polls this morning. States that were not even in the conversation. Now Donald Trump has to either defend or he has to go out and invest millions and millions of dollars that were never imagined a few weeks ago. So no, I think the momentum is with us. She's the change candidate. There's a fresh air related to her. There's a stale air of normalcy related to Donald Trump. He's about the past. She's about the future. He's about chaos. We're about competency. It's about daylight and darkness. This is the easiest election in my lifetime. I love where we are. In this case, to make the case anew against a guy who's more unhinged, more deranged than he ever has been. He's more derivative, and I mean this. I'm a student of Donald Trump. We all are. We've had to live with him. He's less interesting. I mean, listen to these rambling speeches for hours and hours. His audience is even losing him. People are walking out. He's literally, listen to what he's actually saying and how he's saying it. The monotone nature, his economic speech. How about the answer on child care? And you're talking to me about families in America, and you're talking about cost of living. So I think she has a remarkable opportunity.
Dominic, are you okay? You've had weeks to find the answer, and Google is free. Did you know that when Trump was in office, we experienced hurricanes Harvey, Florence, Laura, Irma, Maria, Michael, and Dorian? We tragically lost 3,484 American lives. Do you know how much the immediate assistance from FEMA was then? $750. Why weren't you pissed off then? Why are you mad now? Make that make sense. Concerning Ukraine, did you know during the Trump administration, we spent $231 billion on foreign aid because that's what makes America great. We're doing the right thing, helping people and being a good neighbor. Year to date, during the Biden administration, we've spent $236 billion, a $5 billion difference. And we all know that there's world inflation everywhere, not just America. Why weren't you mad then? I don't know if it's like a reading level thing, and if it is, great, no worries, shoot me a DM. I'll give you my number. We can hop on a FaceTime. I'll read aloud for you, help you find your facts, okay?
What got you excited to come to the Trump rally today?
It's a good man. I love him. We need him. Save the country.
You love him?
Yeah, I think he's a good man. What do you think?
Why? When did you decide he was such a good man?
2016. I liked his words, and I like he did everything he said he was going to do, and he did it.
What are some of those things that he said and then he did? Maybe just one thing. One thing he said and then he did.
He caught me off guard there. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
In the U.S. election, who would you vote for if you could, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, definitely.
Kamala Harris.
I will vote Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Probably Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Harris. Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Oh, Harris for sure.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
I'm 150% for Kamala Harris.
Do you all think Democrats should tone down the rhetoric? Yeah! Do you think Kamala Harris should go to prison? Yeah!
We're living in the dumbest timeline right now.
I love white people, but I don't like Donald Trump. The devil don't never give it to you in the intro. The devil gonna take his time with you. He gonna milk you in. Then he gonna flash on you. Nigga, you didn't know I was him?
Oh, man.
That's what he did. He didn't know he was gonna win. He was gonna keep being what he was.
Yeah.
And then when he won, he had to do, you know what? America's based on racism. Let's not get it fucked up. He ain't making the rules. He's their token guy. He's the one to maintain stability. Got this nigga out the White House and put some more white shit back up in here the way the shit was supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? And that's what the fuck the brainwash was, as opposed to, hold on, Obama trained the thought of, we can all work together. So whoever's the next president, there's not going to be as much racism, and we've gotten over the gay phobia, we've gotten over the this phobia and this. But this nigga then came back and reinsured all of it all over again.
Yeah.
You got the Russian scandal.
Yeah.
You got the fact that it was a nigga in office for 8 years, eating barbecue, basketballing, doing all kinds of just cool shit.
Yeah.
So they like, you making white America black. Look at what it looked like now. When we were kids, no white kids wanted to be black. None of them. Now, so what do you think that's doing to their people up top? It's a brainwash. You get what I'm saying? So we got to restore order. Because in a minute, they going to be politicians. And if they acting like niggas, then they going to be looking out for niggas.
Voters have every right to ask hard questions of any candidate seeking office. But can someone tell me why we are once again holding Kamala to a higher standard than her opponent? We expect her to be intelligent and articulate, to have a clear set of policies, to never show too much anger, to prove time and time again that she belongs. But for Trump, we expect nothing at all. No understanding of policy, no ability to put together a coherent argument, no honesty, no decency, no morals. Instead, too many people are willing to write off his childish, mean-spirited antics by saying, well, Trump's just being Trump, rather than question his horrible behavior. Some folks think he's funny. So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse. All of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all.
One time that Trump fooled me, I'll admit it. Something he said he would do that I believed him was when he said he was going to pass this big infrastructure law.
Rebuild the country's infrastructure. Nobody can do that
like me.
I thought he would do it because it's good politically, and why not? And of course, he failed to do it. Joe Biden did, by the way, with a lot of involvement from Kamala Harris. Now it's something that I wish back when I was mayor that we had that kind of wind at our back as a city.
It's terribly hard. You know, it's funny. I went to his college. I thought for sure. I saw the ad, and I went to it, and it turned out I'm not a doctor.
But I'll say this. I think the really important thing to watch with him isn't the promises that he broke. Like, yeah, he broke the promise about infrastructure. He broke the promise about 6% growth. He even broke the promise he made to that January 6th mob when he said he was going to be right there with them when they marched on the Capitol.
Sure.
But actually, the promises he kept are the really interesting ones, because I think they tell you what the next Trump administration, if he got one, would be like. And he really kept two. One was the promise he made to the Christian right to eliminate the right to choose.
Sure.
And the other was the promise he made to corporate America to cut taxes for corporations and the wealthy. Right. Those are the promises he followed through on. That's what he's about, Hulk Hogan or not.
All right, politics real quick. Now, we all hear, I apologize. Nah, I really don't apologize, man, because a lot of my fans get mad at me when I talk bad about him, but I think it's safe to say most people in our culture do not rock
you need
with
to
Donald
know
Trump.
that you need to know that a lot of your fans is racist. Ain't no fucking way around. Don't even try to put no cut.
I don't even want to put anything around
I
it.
do. I don't give a fuck. I tell him straight up, motherfucker. If you like that nigga, you motherfucking racist. Fuck you and fuck him. Now what?
All right.
Draw the line, nigga. He drew the lines.
Exactly.
He drew the motherfucking lines. Before him, there were no lines. Everybody was everybody. We respected everything. We didn't trip. But nigga, when you drew the line, nigga, start pointing motherfuckers out and saying, nigga, fuck y'all then, nigga.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
You and them.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking
Kanye
about
too,
Donald Trump.
nigga. Don't forget about him too. Fuck you too.
I ain't never voted before, ever, until today. Yeah, and I voted for her. You see I'm rocking the blue? You feel me? Hey, if a black woman is good enough to be your mama, bro, she good enough to be president.
Two less votes for Trump and 2 votes for women's rights.
Senator Kelly. I'm a veteran. Sir, you're a veteran. Donald Trump loves veterans.
Donald Trump has said that 1,800 Marines that died in Bellawood in World War I were a bunch of suckers, or buried World War I veterans were losers. This is a guy who called John McCain a loser because he was captured. But Donald Trump doesn't get us.
But
you're a veteran, I'm a veteran. He doesn't understand us. You know, Donald Trump thinks we were tricked into serving in the military. He puts everybody in 2 categories. You're either the con man or you're the person being conned. And he thinks we were somehow conned from being in the military. When you served in Iraq, did you ever feel like somebody tricked you?
No, I love my country.
Yeah, me too. You know, and this is the first time in history that we could possibly put a guy in the White House who has a total lack of respect for our service.
But so all that stuff you said is true?
All of that. John Kelly and his other staff members heard that. Why is it that this guy is the first president in history that doesn't have the support of his cabinet? You know, he served for 4 years. His vice president hasn't endorsed him. All the generals that work for him, General Milley, General McMasters, General John Kelly, Marine Corps General, have not endorsed him. There's a reason for that. These guys know him better than anybody. I mean, how does that make you a loser?
Wow.
And Donald Trump, I mean, he tried to avoid going to Vietnam because he had bone spurs. Doesn't seem to have bone spurs on the golf course.
Thank you. I didn't know about all that. Thank you.
Appreciate
Seriously.
it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
So you think Trump doesn't like Vance being so out there?
I think he likes him out there as long as it's 95% on Donald Trump. J.D. Vance has been seduced by the power and the notion that he could be the 39-year-old vice president. He's learning about Donald Trump. And so if he had gotten the decoder ring before he joined Donald Trump, things would have been a little bit easier for him, but still very problematic. And so let's go over a couple of things that are in the decoder ring. Number one, never speak for Donald Trump. Ever, ever, never. Only Donald Trump speaks for himself. It is a team of one. You are not on his team. You're just an appendage in bus 17. Number two, don't put any words in his mouth. He rebuked J.D. Vance at the debate last Tuesday. He said, he doesn't speak for me. Vance had to basically publicly apologize. That was part of his Sunday interview tour. Second thing that's happening, I'm going to disgrace you, J.D. Vance. Okay, so I'm going to have Laura Loomer on the plane with me.
Conservative influencer he's been traveling with.
She's like an alt-right conservative influencer, and she's going to ride around with me. I'm going to say praiseworthy things about her, and she's going to say very racist things about Indian Americans. She's going to suggest that the White House is going to smell like curry because the vice president is half Indian. It's going to have a failed call center. All of these racist tropes are going to come out of her mouth. And this is also humiliating to you because you have an Indian American
wife.
Indian American wife, and you have Indian American children. And so this is disgraceful, and you're not going to be able to defend their honor. So I'm going to disrespect you, and I'm going to emasculate you. Third thing I'm going to do is I am a big time liar, and you are going to big time lie for me. Okay. And so Sean Spicer was Trump's first press secretary. Okay. Every Spice Girl has a nickname, Caddy. And so my nickname for him was Liar Spice of the Spice Girls. Okay. All he did was lie. You, J.D. Vance, are going to also lie. Oh, and by the way, you represent this state. You represent the state of Ohio. And this town is in your state, and I am going to disrespect and dishonor this town in your state. And even though you represent this town and you should be out there advocating and defending its honor, you're not allowed to do that because I am going to emasculate you, JD. You got that? I'm going to floor you to the point someday you're going to get to a microphone like Mike Pence and say, hey, I'm really sorry. I cannot endorse this person anymore.